While Broadway may be closed, Marysville High School's performance of Beauty and the Beast took place last week with 3 shows. COVID safety guidelines allowed for limited audience participation, but the show went on. We have Mr. Martin and director Emily Gerhart and Caleb Horner here to answer a few questions. What character did you play and how long have you been in musical theater?
I played Belle in this year's production of Beauty and the Beast, and I have been involved in musical theater since 6th grade when I was Chip in Beauty and the Beast.
I played the Beast, and the first show that I performed in was my freshman year, which was at the school, and it was Into the Woods.
Mr. Martin, how did COVID impact the way you directed?
COVID had a pretty big impact on our production. In terms of directing it, we really didn't have to change too much of the staging or choreography, but what we did have to be mindful of was our offstage time. If a student or cast member needed a break and get off stage, they had to distance themselves. If they needed to get a drink of water, we had to make sure that they, remove themselves from the cast appropriately to distance themselves and take a quick water break and come back on stage. So we had to be mindful of particularly what we're doing off stage. And in our own personal lives too, I had asked the cast to be really, really careful on their social gatherings and their outside social lives so that we could finish and follow through with the whole entire performance. We had no understudies, we couldn't replace any leads, so if anybody were to get sick, that was it, we would have had to shut down. So in terms of the directing piece of it, not too many modifications, but it was mostly the offstage time. But I will say, in terms of making it a success, we had to purchase some special masks, some special singers masks and performing masks. And it was nice that central office was able to provide those for us. And there are special masks to allow the fabric to come off of the mouth so we could pronounce our words and sing bigger and you could understand what we were saying and what the leads were saying. The other way it impacted us was offstage and our ticket sales. We had to be really strict on our CDC guidelines and our distancing in the audience. So I had a couple of great parents organize our ticket sales, and we had to be really specific about how and where we seated our theater patrons this year. So like I said, the directing part of it on stage didn't change too much. It was all of the other logistical issues that come with producing the show that we had to take special care of. Usually during the show, we have a nice big spread of food in the hallway, and that's my favorite part. But we just couldn't do that this year. Parents couldn't make food and bring it in. We had to have prepackaged stuff, and if they wanted to eat, they had to go to another room and spread out. So, like I said, the impacts were mostly off stage, but the students were able to accommodate and persevere through it, and come off and perform a really great show.
Last year with COVID taking away your show a week before opening day, how did you feel to finally perform?
It was great to finally have the opportunity to perform, mostly for kind of a sense of closure with the show, that we finally got to finish it through and see it through, and it really was better this year than it would have even been last year. So it was great to be able to finally do it.
It felt super awesome. Just already this show last year was such a good show with how it was cast and all the people that were in it. I got along well with everybody. So it was super cool to kind of come back and be able to finish what we started. And it was also cool just seeing everybody, including myself, grow across the year, because I think having that year in between made it a really good show just because we were able to work on ourselves throughout that time, and we all just got a lot better, which made the show a lot more amazing than it would have been last year.
So last year, COVID shut our show down 1 week before we were supposed to open. I remember the phone call from Mr. Farnsworth. I kind of knew it was coming, but when the reality sunk in at the time, it was heavy. It was really sad. It was devastating. But we kind of took solace in knowing we weren't the only group being shut down. It was just happening all over the place, just a big domino effect. Sports was canceled. Theater was canceled all over the place. So it was a big shock. The biggest thing we had to probably mentally contend with is when we could perform it again. How long was this pandemic going to last? How long we were going to be out of school? When could we get back in the theater again? And so just those unknowns weighed pretty heavily on our minds. So we thought maybe during the summer, and then that didn't happen. Well, maybe we could do it this fall, and that didn't happen. Well, maybe we could do it in February. So we just kept kicking the show down the road. And then finally, when things started to kind of settle in a little bit, we made the decision to go ahead and actually finish the show, which was nice for our cast and for our parents and our crew and our orchestra to finally get a chance to complete what we had started the year before.
What was it like to play the lead your senior year?
Being able to play the lead for my senior year was definitely a privilege and a personal opportunity to grow as a performer. I had the opportunity to work with a lot of talented and wonderful people, so that definitely made my job easier. So it was a really nice experience that I'll definitely remember.
Obviously, it felt super amazing, not just because I got to play a really cool part that was deeper than anything I've ever gotten to do, but it was also really cool to kind of be somebody that the people look up to and be like a leader in the theater, not just somebody who's playing a big part, but somebody who gets to set an example for the other people who are in the show.
This musical has a streaming component for those that could not attend in person. Can you explain a little more about how someone can still see the show?
Because we were in a pandemic this year and theaters were closed, Music Theater International and Disney partnered together to allow schools to record their performances and then offer a streaming option at a specific broadcast time. So our specific broadcast times are April 29th, 30th, and May 1st, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7 o'clock. So there'll be a link going out on the Marysville School's website, and you can buy a virtual ticket. It's $10, $10 per streaming device, and you will purchase the virtual ticket, and will get sent an email link with a special code for the performance night that you would like to watch, either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And then from the comfort of your own home, you can watch the stream and be a part of the performance without actually having attended the performance. We have plenty of family and friends and extended family that were not allowed to see the performance because of our limited seating capacity this year. So this is a really fantastic alternative for a community to see what these kids have worked so hard on over the last year.
Thank you, Emily, Caleb, and Mr. Martin for coming in and talking with us today. There's still time to get your tickets to the Marysville High School's production of Beauty and the Beast. This is Evan Talent from M6, your hometown station.